for another coffee with Kilroy. Or what I sometimes call, many a times call, well, you know, beverage in a book. My beverage coffee. Ooh, and I'm almost done. Time to put another pot on. And the book today is Rifle Squad, U.S. at Omaha Beach, a solitaire war game from Mike Lambo. Now, I want to start by saying thank you to Mr. Lambo. I have not covered one of these in quite some time, and I've actually not heard from him in quite some time. But that doesn't mean he hasn't been busy cranking out the games. I've covered quite a few of these, and he reached out to me recently and said, "Hey, going to send you my latest." Game, which is Rifle Squad U.S. at Omaha Beach. And in fact, he said this is probably his most complex design. I'm going to do a quick page through here. I don't really want to spoil anything or make it to where you could play it without getting the book, because you really need to pick this one up. But I do want to, just highlight a few things in here as we page through, and want to thank him for the opportunity to do that. This is, I would say that this might be, he might be right. He knows his games better than I do, although I've covered many of them. This might be one of his more complex designs. It has, I think, more pages of rules than his other games. I think there's some new concepts in there, or at least some more detailed on some old concepts in this one than I've seen in the other games. His games have evolved over time. I don't have all of them, but I do have several of them. I gotta get the coffee out of the way. It's almost empty anyway. But I have covered several of his games, and if you want, just look under Lambo, under my designers, and you'll see all my coverage of these various different games here that kind of, most of them are World War II, but there are a few that cover other topics, modern, even Napoleonic. And I believe he's got some sci-fi. Yes, I remember that. There are a couple of sci-fi there, 3 sci-fi at least, and then a lot of English Civil War. So there are several of games in this series, or under his belt, so to speak. And this is not all of them by any stretch of the imagination. I got a few of them. I've bought most of them, and he sent me a few of them, including this one, so I do want to thank him for that. But enough of all that. Let's look at this one. This is the latest and greatest, at least to me. See what it says on the back here. The D-Day landings took place in World War II on June 6, 1944. Taking Omaha Beach was the responsibility of U.S. soldiers. The main objective was to secure a beachhead 5 miles inland and to link Gold Beach with Utah Beach. Just over half the German defenders were battle-hardened combat soldiers and were generally positioned in strong points along the coast. In the game, the players will take control of a single U.S. rifle squad consisting of 12 men. The exploits of the squad can be played out in individual missions or in a campaign. Oh, I do like that. Spanning 3 missions, chosen at random on each playthrough. The first mission will consist of a beach landing. The second mission will require the soldiers to push inland, and the third mission will require them to take the final objective for victory. Your task is to use the various leaders in your squad to maximize their abilities of the men under their command. The aim of this game is to present a set of clear and easy-to-read rules, immersive mission maps, and clear, useful game counters. Individual missions within a campaign can be played in or around an hour or so, and each one should provide almost endless replayability. Thank you for purchasing the game, and I hope you enjoy the challenge it presents. So that's one of the things, if you looked at all those stack of games that I have from him, they started out being a war game book where you could play it inside the book. You could just write it up or make markings inside the book and play it in there. His typical gameplay, which we'll see a little bit here, although I don't want to necessarily reveal too much where you don't have to pick this up, but is a map on one side where you're going to have gameplay, and then on the right is basically the AI. These are all solitaire, so it's the order system, command system of how you're going to be taking turns based on what orders or commands you give to your units, and then the AI or the Germans will take theirs based on rolling dice and figuring out what their response is or reaction is. And so this has evolved over time into, even those earlier games, people started making counters for them, and then he eventually started offering up example counters in his games, or maybe even online. And so these have turned into a do-it-yourself war game. So you buy the book, but you're going to end up, to get full, you can still play them, but to get full immersion or full value out of this, you probably want to make your own counters and make a copy of the map, and play it as kind of off to the side and referring to the charts and whatever in the rules in this book as necessary. That's what a lot of people have done. That's kind of what I've done. I mean, I've done everything from using trace paper or clear paper that you can mark on, putting a plexiglass and then marking off of it, to making some of my own counters, or just using leftover bits from other games that I have. You can actually use minis in here too if you want, if you're so inclined. Anyway, enough of all that. But these games have kind of taken a life of their own outside the book, so to speak. So here's your table of contents. He used to list all the games that were in the series, but he's got too many now. He can't even list all of them now. And he does, on YouTube, he does have some playthroughs. In fact, I think he has a playthrough of this, or at least how to play of this game. So take a look at his channel as well to get more detail of these games. But you got an introduction, how the game works. You have the overview, general game concepts, explaining the mission maps and the squad and line of sight, all your typical war gamey type aspects. This is very much a kind of a hex encounter type game, a solitaire hex encounter type game. A line of sight, the German soldiers, what they do, cover. I don't know if cover's covered in all his other games, but get me a sip of coffee. Going to finish this off. But I think if it's not covered, it's covered here. And if it is covered, I think he's gone in a little bit more detail in it here. There's basic attack rules. Then you have the main rules. So phase 1 is U.S. operations and what you need to do there. You have different orders like move, rally, find cover, spot, scout, heal. And then you've got grenade attack, grenade launcher, assault, and mortar. Then you've got resolving potential enemy markers. And then phase 2 is German operations, which are going to be going off those charts. And then they're going to talk about their different landings. You got a landing 1, 2. Oh, sorry, I'm kind of off the board here. Landing 1, 2, 3. Inland 1, 2, 3, and final 1, 2, 3. So your first mission is going to be a landing. Then you're going to be pushing inland, and then you're going to try to take over your objective with the final one here. And then they have some extreme editions of this. So I guess, you can ratchet up the complexity if you so desire. So this first section is all the rules, and don't let this scare you. I mean, this does feel more weighty and more rules than his other games. I just don't recall, these are all the game maps in the back, as you can see here, for the different things. But you're looking at 45 pages of rules. 40 pages because it starts on page 5. But these are, there's a lot of colored examples in here. There's notes in here. There's full written out examples in here. So the 40 pages, but with a lot of detail. I think this might be his most detailed attempt at rules and this system. Now, this system is not exactly the same as the earlier ones. I mean, there has been an evolution. I might want to do an episode where I just kind of cover the evolution of his systems and how he's added more detail and clarity over time. But, that's for another day and another time. But so you got 40 pages of rules. Here's the designer note here. The concept of orders in this game reflects actual orders that leaders may give on the battlefield, but the concept also abstracts the ideal of more general orders, tactical information, influence, and encouragement, and communications. It is appreciated that on the battlefield, it would not be necessary to have to order every soldier to move or fire on every occasion, but players should view the concept as being somewhat more fluid than simply direct orders, right? So it's not all perfect information, like in Squad Leader, where you're just going to tell them to move and they're going to move. And here's an example of some of the orders up here. You got this heal, scout, move, spot, grenade, assault, mortar, all the different attacks or different orders that are up here. As I said, there's a lot of examples in here. So here's a move example. So you've got a diagram or an image, and then you also have a tactical note. And so here's rally. And so there's a lot more explanation and exposition in these rules than what I've seen in the past. So this is becoming a fully fleshed out war game system, as at least in my opinion, as you look through this all. So there's all the different rules, and then you got to get to the Germans, and this is what they do. And then we get to here's all the different German commands and German operations, I should say, that go on there. That looks a little bit convoluted, but it's really not that complicated once you kind of get into it. It's just a few dice rolls there. Then you're going to get into the missions. And again, I don't want to spoil this too much, but as I said, you're going to have on one page is the map, and you see there's not a lot of hexes on here. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6.5 hexes on the map, at least from top to bottom. So not a lot of room to play, but there's a lot of action happening in here. You remember, you're only handling a squad, so 12 men trying to hit the beach in this one, and then the second level will be inland. But here's all the information you need to play that. I mean, you have the rules, you got the 40 pages of rules, but you don't necessarily need to refer to them each time. Once you get an understanding of how the orders work and how the Germans work, it becomes relatively easy to get into, and you're just moving counters along the board in that case. So as you can see here, it would be easy just to make a copy of this and keep this out flat, and maybe make a copy of this so you can refer to that, and then use the book as kind of a rule book, as in the traditional sense of the case. So, and there's an inland, that's another landing. There's an inland. And as you see, there's no beach there, but and then you're going to have your final objective, which looks like a fixed or fortified position up there. So usually there are an example of counters in here. So yeah, here's your suggested counters. So not a ton of counters are needed here. You could copy this and put it on a sticker sheet, and then put it on some heavier backing material. That's what I do a lot of the times. Yeah, and this might be available. Yeah, it's also available on Board Game Geek. There's a link to it right down there. And this is the Extreme Edition, which that does look a little more extreme. Anyway, so I don't want to spoil too many of these pages, because I don't want you screen grabbing and you want to enjoy this and play this. You want to get this book and enjoy this on your own. So let's pull that a little bit here, so you can see the full wonder of it. But anyway, there you have it. So this is Rifle Squad US at Omaha Beach. He's covered a lot of Normandy landings. I think I have at least 2, if not 3 different Normandy focused games of his. But there, always room for more, right? That might be the most covered topic on my battles and campaigns. If you look down below on my playlist, I have a battles and campaign section broken out with some major ones, and Normandy might be my biggest that I have. So anyway, all right, there you have it. Rifle Squad US at Omaha Beach. Thank you, Mr. Lambo. I don't have time to put the counters together now, but when I get some time, I'm going to put these counters together, make a copy of the map, or at least the 3 different maps between landing and inland and final, and I'm going to get this to the table. And maybe I can do an after action. I haven't done very many after actions on this stuff. I've done it on some of the other stuff. But anyway, enjoy your coffee or whatever you're drinking today. I'm going to finish this off, take another look at these rules here. And again, don't let 40 pages scare you. I think these are just a lot more clarity and detail than what he's done in the past. Not that the other ones were unclear, but I think he's really put a lot more attention to it. At least that's my take. I need to get reading to it. I just picked this up off my doorstep. Anyway, thanks all. Take care. Thanks for watching.